Are you ready for the ultimate bikepacking weekend adventure? Join us for an unforgettable self-supported bikepacking trip through Southwest Virginia. The Loudoun Gravel bikepacking adventure travels along the Virginia Creeper Trail, the beautiful gravel roads of Loudoun County, Virginia, and the New River Trail. All lodging and camping arrangements are included, along with daily routes and guides riding along with you. This self-supported adventure offers resupply opportunities every 20 miles for your food and water needs. Find out more at graveltraveldirt.com.
You're listening to Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt.
Hi, y'all. I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Jess.
This, folks, is episode 168 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. So if you're new here, it's a podcast where we talk about gravel bikes, adventure biking, bike packing, bike camping, Blake, and Joey's birthday episode.
Dun, dun, dun. Joey hates his birthday.
So that's why we're going to make a huge deal out of Joey's birthday. He's actually only looked at the secret notes, the show notes. The entire episode, Jess and I have like real show notes that we're using that are nothing but Joey facts. This entire episode is dedicated to Joey facts.
Is there really?
No.
I was going to say, I don't even have the show notes pulled up.
That would be a lot of fun, though. But joining us a little later to help celebrate Joey's birthday, Andy Bacon from EX2 Adventures, and he is also the event director for 1725 Loudoun Gravel Grinder. But Jess, before we get there, you know how you can guarantee your best performance on any Loudoun County gravel event or grinduro?
No, Andy Bacon.
It's to wear Cutaway USA.
Oh,
Because
God.
Cutaway USA offers premium cycling apparel born in the Blue Ridge. Cutaway is an industry leader providing innovative fabrics combined with clean, bold designs. Make sure to visit their website at cutawayusa.com to see all of their jerseys, bibs, cycling apparel, and gear. And when you reach the checkout, use the code GTD20 to take 20% off your entire order. Now, that is a special discount just for our listeners. Exciting.
That's awesome.
It just keeps going and going and going.
Just
keeps going.
All the Cutaway goods.
All the
just
Cutaway.
keeps flowing out. Just keeps flowing out of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt to all of our listeners. Hey, Joey, I've forgotten in the past few weeks, what are you drinking over there?
I just have seltzer right now.
Okay.
I'm recovering.
Yeah.
Like I'm a recovering drinker.
I'm a recovering seltzer drinker.
No,
Okay,
I've
well,
been sick. I've been drinking a lot of things like with whiskey incorporated.
Have you been sick or just allergies?
I think it started as we don't know. I think I just have the common cold.
Sometimes it all kind of runs together and eventually it turns into...
And we've been like rapid testing like every morning before we go out or stuff like that because we didn't know I don't know what it's going to be.
So you're making sure it's not COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's smart. You got to do.
Yeah, it's I've had a lot of whiskey and tea, whiskey and whiskey.
Well, whiskey's good for the
suppresses
cold.
the cough.
Yeah.
But then I didn't have any yesterday. Jess said it slows my recovery down. So,
But it does suppress the cough.
Yeah, but if you ever looked at like your Whoop or your Garmin, if you have alcohol, it really does affect your heart rate for the next few days and stuff like that. Yeah, if you look it up, there's a lot of articles about it.
So you've stopped wearing the Whoop, though.
I have.
You are Whoopless.
I have no tracking devices on me whatsoever.
But you're still going to use the Garmin on the bike for events.
Correct.
For routing.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
For routing. Yeah.
Okay.
Like today, like Blake and I went for a run. And his collar has where we are in GPS locations. So like it said, like you did this many miles, which doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of the fact that Blake was going out and Blake was running with me and stuff like that. So that's the only type of data tracking I have right now is Blake's collar. Yeah. To track how many miles I did. So
your dog is your computer.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. What have you got going on this week, Joe? You got a lot of stuff on your list of things to talk about.
Yeah. Lack of lacking.
I don't know what that means. Lack of
So
lacking?
2 weeks ago, I don't know, I had like 90 mile. I was like trying to slowly ramp up like riding my bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I knew Dirty Kitten was coming up and I didn't want to go into that one like fully bad. And then I just got sick. So then I went like a week without riding. Except for the Average Joe, I shouldn't have rode that one. But it was first group ride of the year. I cut out some sections, and then I tried to do Rousby Hall early because my chest was hurting and stuff, so I wanted to get away from people and just do that by myself. But I did most of the group ride.
I noticed that your miles on that seemed a little
16. I cut off some stuff, and then when I was talking to Dave, we ran into Dave, and I missed the whole last neighborhood, so I cut out. I got between the B and the C group. I guess we turned into a C group. I don't know what happened. And then, and then after the picture, I left, and I went out to Rousby Hall. But then everyone caught up to me at the top of the Rousby Hall, so it was all good. The B group did. So it's fine. Like I said, I just felt it in my chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't get as much riding as I thought. So
first it's group riding season though is back, and that's exciting. That's always like a good, fun thing that kicks off.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can hear Blake or not, but Blake is making all kinds of noise.
He's singing to us.
And
he howls. He does this thing like huskies do.
He's just talking. He's just talking. I actually think he believes that he is a part of the podcast as well, and he's wondering why he doesn't have a microphone.
It drives me nuts. It's like a kid
cute.
whining in the background. And he doesn't whine to Joey. It's all me.
So he's actually whining through Joey at you?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think if we do this enough times, he'll just finally realize that he's not a part of the podcast, and he'll quiet down.
He doesn't have his headphones on.
Yeah.
Brian, you're up.
No, I'm not done.
Joey's got a whole
good grief.
Look at his list.
I changed my Strava name to D'Angelo Vickers. No, just kidding.
I changed it back.
Yeah,
nobody thought it was funny.
I'm a Scranton Strangler. Brian tried, but you went a little too
Yeah, did I go a little too deep?
Yeah.
Some of the D'Angelo Vickers quotes are a little bit
cringy.
Yeah. So I kind of realized that may have been a mistake.
I mean, Scranton Strangler doesn't have any quotes.
Well, yeah,
but all last year, literally was every different ride was an office quote.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stay myself and make up fun titles that have to go along with, or I just leave it as lunch ride.
Yeah.
Most of my rides actually are lunch ride, afternoon ride, evening ride, morning ride. I just leave them the same. So.
You went with me yesterday. We picked up my rooftop tent.
Yeah, we
threw it on.
We had
I wish we threw it on. It's not that light.
We had a day date.
Yeah.
It was to go.
We had
to
breakfast
Richmond.
and lunch together.
Mm-hmm.
We went down to a place called Trail Tech 4x4 down in Asheville, north of Richmond. It's by a little airport and an industrial park. And he carries Roof Nest and had what I wanted in stock. And he had it a few $100s off on sale.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I got a little bit cheaper.
Nice.
At the end of the day, the sale was convenient. The convenient part was I could drive there and pick it up.
Yeah. Because how much would shipping
rooftop
have been for
tents?
something like that?
Now, Roof Nest was doing free freight, but generally, so when I was looking at CVT and all, it was like $500 freight.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So now the rooftop was more money, but then freight's a pain in the butt. Like they guaranteed a week or two turnaround. Then you got to be there for freight. It might come dinged up.
Yeah, and you don't know what kind of conditions.
Him as a
gonna
dealer,
arrive.
if he's getting something like he's getting in bulk, and then he could deny and he can, get stuff returned and stuff easier. But
yeah, because he's looking at that box when it comes in off of his freight truck.
Yeah,
and he's like going, no, this one's going back.
Yeah,
but you as a consumer, that's tougher to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got it. We put on the roof. A couple little challenges at first, but I know I need to change to dismount and remount it.
Yeah.
So. But it looks good.
The thing about it wasn't complicated.
It wasn't complicated at all.
It was just heavy to get up there.
130 pounds.
And then getting the bolts lined up on the Subaru because it was just really hard to get up underneath those tracks.
Yeah.
They were tough.
I was going to say that's what she said, but I refrained myself. Go ahead.
But did you refrain yourself?
No, I just said it anyway.
Yeah.
So she just...
No, it's nice. We popped it open. You got inside of it. I got inside for a second. Yeah. We'll be using it this weekend in Dirty Kitten.
It's super comfy. The whole floor of the thing is a mattress.
Yeah, it's a 3-inch or 30. It's thick. It's thick enough for I'm not taking my sleeping pad.
So, Jess, have you seen it opened yet?
I saw a picture.
You saw the pictures.
The black side was up, and I thought that it went all the way down. No. I showed it to my kids today. So,
really?
Yeah. Because we've been talking about it and kind of like joking around about it. So it was really cool to see that like I actually got it. You know, Joey and I have been talking about it for so long. So
basically since I got the car.
Well, I'm super curious because I know that you're not like full on camping person, Jess. So I'm curious how the roof tent is going to work for you.
I am also curious because
I think you're going to like it because it's like when you're in a tent and you're on a sleeping pad and you're sleeping on the ground, I think it's just a much different experience than what you're going to have with the rooftop tent, with the entire thing being basically a giant mattress.
So my lovely co-teacher was telling me that they came popular because of rattlesnakes getting out west. So people now started camping on top of their cars because of the rattlesnakes out west.
So we'll keep all the bugs and all the critters and all of that stuff at bay.
Yeah,
should be a little
There's
warmer
a sense
too.
of security.
Yeah, you're also warmer too, I would
And
think.
I'll be able to put the Yeti, like have my like Dunkin' Donuts coffee like in the Yeti for the next day and stuff like that.
Oh, well, you could do that camping anyway.
Yeah, but just a little more comfort, I think.
Oh, that's going to be in the car.
I
no food in the tent, no matter what.
Oh, okay.
There's still animals will still work their way.
Yeah,
in,
they'll still find their way up there.
Bears,
Raccoons and
we don't
stuff.
have bears.
They'll smell that toothpaste and they'll get up in there. You keep all that stuff in the car.
Yeah.
Keep all that
Yep.
stuff in
Gotcha.
the car.
Okay, are you
but
done
there's
with
a
your
sense of security.
Nope.
Not
So-
done with this longer list.
I'll be Can you hold on over there?
Jess is very
Now I'm just
eager.
going to keep talking.
I know what she's got.
I called Brian out on Wordle today. I believe Ryan cheats.
No, I do
There's
not.
no way you got Foyer today for those. It's playing anyway.
Okay,
No one's
playing on
listening
Thursday,
today.
yeah.
How did you go?
Okay, so in the first two guesses,
All right, so hold on. Let me pull this up.
let me actually show you how I got to it. In my first two
So most people
guesses,
here are playing
I
Wordle, so-
had 4 of the letters. Okay,
All
Now,
right,
I'm going to show you my.
Brian,
I'm going to show you my
4
thing.
out of 6 on this one. He went black, 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 yellow, yellow, then
See-
black, black, yellow, and then black, black, black.
But
black,
if you
black.
look at my screen. In the first 2 letters, I had 4. In the first 2 words, I had 4 of the letters, and I was simply trying to eliminate consonants
don't
with
know.
my third guess. And then if you see, I take my time and I think about them.
I take my time.
And now I knew that the R, I had the Y, the O, the R, and the E. So I had everything but the F. And I knew that the E was not in the last position, and I knew the Y was not in the
Look
last
at my
position.
second to last one.
Where were you? You were all over the map. See, now this is what I did. You kept putting the same letters that you already knew instead of trying to put a different word in that had multiple consonants in it. So my third
I don't know.
one,
I just called Brian out. That's all.
that's okay. But I don't. The only person you cheat,
Foyer,
you cheat
no
on.
one's getting Foyer.
I got it. I got it in 4. It just, I
boy.
sat there and I stared. I had the O, the Y, the E, and the R, and I knew where the letters lined up. and
Maybe.
So if you play Wordle, and you would actually,
There's some good Wordle podcasts.
there's some really good Wordle podcasts, and there's also if you would like to get on our Wordle message thread,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's open to new invites. I don't know.
Jess doesn't play much anymore, and she's the one that started with us, and I just got addicted to it.
Do you don't play it much anymore? Why not?
Well, everybody didn't see me shaking my head, so shake my head. No, I do not.
No.
I don't know.
No cheating going on over here, though.
No.
It's no fun to cheat. I actually wait up until midnight some nights.
You did that at 12:03 or something.
Yeah, if I'm up at night and I'm not asleep, then I will legitimately wait until midnight for the new Wordle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, dude, I'm just telling you, that's my current streak. Did you see my streak?
Oh, you're a streaker, all right.
My current Wordle streak is, I want to say, 74. That's right there from the screen. 99% winning percentage.
Mine's off because I do some of them from my laptop. But I haven't been playing that long.
The laptop and the phone don't sync.
They don't talk to each other.
Well, enough about Wordle. I'm going bikepacking this
Oh.
weekend.
Oh,
With-
my last thing, spicy nuggets.
Oh, Lord.
Spicy nuggets are back.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
done.
we did. Now, I told Joey that I don't particularly care for the spicy nuggets, but every time I go to McDonald's now,
They're
I
good.
order the spicy nuggets so that possibly they will keep them on the menu
Oh,
for
you're keeping
Joey.
them.
I am sacrificed. It's his birthday present. It's what I'm giving to him for his birthday. Is my
No, see,
consumption of
that's why I
spicy
hate my
nuggets.
birthday. I don't want people doing anything for me.
You don't like the birthday at all?
No.
Nope.
Well,
Shake my
I don't
head.
like people doing anything for me or out of the way or none of that stuff. I'm a simple
Well, don't
man.
worry. I will not be cooking dinner for you that night.
Yeah, we're getting a Buddha.
Because I don't want to go out of my way and do something
aren't you guys going to
different.
be at Growly Cat?
Yeah.
On Saturday, my birthday's Sunday. I got to work Sunday.
Okay. So you're going to be back. You're coming back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going bikepacking on the towpath this weekend.
With our friend
with Jerry.
Jerry Porter.
Yep. And very excited about that. And it's been a while since Jerry's been on the bike. I'm excited to get Jerry back out there. In fact, I'm not getting Jerry back out there. Jerry asked me if I wanted to go with him.
Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah. But I am excited to go because I just don't seem to get to do enough of it. And I don't think I did it all last year until like the end of the season when we went.
We did
when we did the towpath
one night, yeah.
in the trains. We dealt with all the trains. And Joey did put on here that we did make the Radavist.
How did you guys make the Radavist?
Well, Brett, one of the photographers that was there, not Bruce Buckley, but Brett Rothmeyer.
Yeah, I saw the post today. I wasn't in it.
He took a whole bunch of pictures, and I guess a handful of the pictures from his gallery and his write-up that he did on the Radavist.
That looked damn good.
And I look like a toolbox. I don't know what in the world. I don't want to smile much anymore without my teeth, so I'm always very conscientious.
You got to embrace it.
I probably should.
You look cute.
You look cute.
No, I don't know.
Is there any of me?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't see any.
No, but Joey and I both made it. We're very excited.
Okay.
So anyway, does that mean we've made it?
Oh my goodness, Hub! I love that picture of you.
Isn't that a great picture,
Thank
Joey?
you.
Love that picture of you.
In his element.
In his element.
Yep. Doing his thing.
Then I'm right there.
So I don't know if that makes we've made it since we've made the Radavist or not. I don't know what that means.
I saw the post they put on Instagram, and I only saw like the select 5 pictures, but I think that's awesome. I'm so glad they did a write up about Croatan.
Yeah,
it was a really great experience.
This photo, like, I would love to put like in my store or something. It's just cool.
So there's one like that.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's one like that because Brett was at the overnight for a long weekend.
Yeah.
And there's one where all of us were standing out at the Neuse River watching the sunset, and he took a picture that's got a lot of that. So that's that whole long weekend group that's standing there watching that sunset over the water, which is kind of cool. You only see the silhouettes of everybody kind of standing there, which is neat. So anyway, okay, Jess.
Holla, it's my turn.
You want to start with Growly Cat or Meerkat? Which cat do you want to begin with?
Rare.
Which cat?
Did I make a good cat noise? Rare. Okay.
Yeah.
Growly Cat I'm super excited for.
Huh?
We signed up for the 40, but we might be doing the 20, so not a big deal. We go for the event and the experience.
Do the thing.
We do the thing.
This is like a whole different type of experience for you now too. You know, like camping.
Oh, yes, camping. Yes.
I'm gonna make you breakfast the next morning.
Okay.
Oh, he's promised that before.
Skillet?
So.
Yeah, but our start time is 9:30.
Is it really?
Yeah,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, and we're gonna wake up where the ride starts.
That's
so it is very cool that we get to do that.
That was the best part. Oh, not the best.
That was
part,
the
but
nicest thing about Croatan.
Yeah, was a nice part of Croatan. Is actually camping right there at the start.
So that's really exciting. My friend Alex. She got little ears for her helmet because all of the dirty kitten girls have like little ears on their helmets.
Are you gonna get ears?
I'm not a part of their like team, but like the ears are so cute to me. Like I want blinds. I want like other ears, like not.
We could
cat
be the dirty
ears,
dog.
but, like,
You wanna get some dog ears?
Like,
The dirty
no,
dogs.
that would be so cool. So. The Boston Marathon was yesterday, and that was super exciting. I know you guys did not watch it, or you didn't.
No, but it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
The Boston Marathon happened yesterday. I thought the coolest experience was Shaylin Flanagan, a pro runner, ran with a wounded athlete who survived the Boston bombing.
Oh,
And
wow.
I thought that was a really awesome experience. Now she is a para athlete. She has a limb missing. So I thought the pictures were really cool of both
That's
of them
awesome.
running together. It just, it hits a spot. So yesterday was a really awesome experience watching it and watching these pro runners and seeing all these really cool stories. So I'm really eyeing my prize on trying to fundraise for the New York City Marathon.
When is that?
That is in November. The hardest thing is my personal days because I only get 2 personal days.
Oh, are you doing New York City or Memphis?
I'm doing both.
Oh,
That's the plan. So fundraising is kicking off. So the patches are going out. They're mailed and ready to go. We had a little bit problem with the post office, but we're just going to try to work around it.
You know, I was thinking, what about people that do pop-up cards and stuff that are a little bit thicker?
You're right.
Because they're not smooth. It's a package.
So they were going to charge me $3 to ship each envelope.
Did you take them to the post office
I did.
and had them look at that?
I did.
Yeah. Which post office did you go to?
Solomon's.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the secret. Go to Lusby.
Okay, I'll do that.
Go to one up the street in Lusby.
I'll do that.
Just north of St. Leonard, just north of the Circle, and hand them the package. And actually what you want to do is if you have them already done. They're already done. All you have to do is just, they tend to be a little bit mine. I ran into that with T-shirts.
Yeah.
Solomon's rejected a lot of T-shirts and made me send them as packages, whereas Lusby, she was like, oh, they're fine. She put them on the scale and weighed them and didn't care about how thick they were.
Cool. Well, thank you for that insight.
I'm not saying it's a guarantee that they'll be able to.
So if anybody works for the Postal Service out there,
Otherwise, I'll have them with me at Dirty Kitten.
Yep. So we have a few, they're all ready to go. So that's really exciting. I have 2 new awesome leads on next fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
Hand Up Gloves is doing a fundraiser with us. Those really cool gloves that say things. So Hand Up is doing a fundraiser with us. That should be out around May 1st. And then Dynaplug, we're in communication right now with our next fundraiser with the Meerkat. So cool. I'm very excited.
Well, I'm very excited because I would be excited for you to have somebody to work with a product that really works.
Yeah.
And Dynaplug does.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how to use it, but I hear really good things about it.
There's not a whole lot of rocket science to it. It's like you find the hole and you poke the thing through it, you pull it back out, and you just keep going. You don't even have to put air in the tire.
Oh man, maybe I can do that.
It took me. I had, and I'll say this because
Did you use one the other day?
I had to use one the other day, and it's the first time since I've been carrying one that I've had to use it, and it took me less time to fix the flat than it did to find the flat, if that makes sense. So like I saw the sealant popping out, but the sealant kind of covers up where the hole is.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of like play with it to find where the bubbles are with the sealant.
Yeah.
It took me longer, but as soon as I found that, it was just a plunk with the Dynaplug, pull it back out, and went, that's it. And no more noise, no more spit, done, finished my ride.
Cool.
And it's still in there, and the tire's holding air beautifully.
Awesome. Dynaplug.
So it is a permanent fix for a temporary problem.
And my friend Kelly Catelli knows how to use a Dynaplug too.
I'm sure she does.
So,
but it really, it's
I will soon learn how to use a Dynaplug.
So and not to be derogatory with a competitor, because we all carried stand darts for a while. The stand darts, the plastic tip would bend
or snap.
Yeah, and it was like you would struggle to get the plug into the tire. With the Dynaplug, because it's that little brass tip, it just...
I don't like the litter, but there is one on the side of Rousby Hall because I chucked it.
Oh,
a dart?
A dart?
Very fresh. I broke all of it.
Yeah, the plastic just would bend, and it would either snap or you just couldn't get it to go in the hole. Yeah. So, anyway.
So, staycation of my spring break was successful. I did lots of chores around the house to help out with Joey. I even attempted to make a dinner. So
how'd that turn out?
Good. It was chicken nuggets and salad. So
excellent.
Chicken nuggets went to the air fryer, and the salad was from a bag. So all I did was cut up a cucumber.
That's fine. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it good to be back at work though? No.
It is.
Really?
It was a great day today.
Yeah,
it was a great day today. It was an awesome place to be.
Cool. So Paris-Roubaix was Sunday, Joey.
Yes.
And I know that you follow that stuff.
The best one-day race of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, you did watch it.
Hell of the North.
I had to watch some of the recap too.
Let's start with the ladies. So this was the second year for the ladies. And as we all know, Lizzie Deigan was not in attendance because she is expecting
a child,
a little baby. So I think the last thing you want to do is go do something called Hell of the North when you're in that condition, I'm guessing. I don't know where she was. What happened, Joey?
What do you mean what happened?
Who won? Who won for the ladies?
The lady?
It was... I can look it up.
Oh, I thought you...
Oh, okay. Elisa Longo Borghini with a long-range attack. She actually took the lead with 30 kilometers to go. She went out on a solo attack and actually held on to that. It was nothing like last year's event. This year was dry. Last year, if you remember, it was
muddy. Well, last year's was in October
delayed because of COVID too, so it was really muddy and a mess. None of that. I guess the other big news from the ladies was that Elisa Balsamo had a sticky bottle issue. I was
trying to explain that to Brian earlier.
Yeah, it's like holding onto the bottle. What was the what you used the word? Soigner?
Soigner.
That is the
Yeah,
person.
That is French for sticky bottle?
No, that's the helper person.
Sorry, just kidding. That was silly.
Got a little extra pull up to the group. It was a little bit longer. Everyone tries to see how far they can get with that.
Yeah.
And she pushed her limits a little too much.
So that's the ladies' race. And then in the men's race, the winner was Dylan Van... these names just kill me. Dylan Van Barl?
That's good.
Dutch?
You're not Phil Liggett or Bob Roll, so it's okay.
Okay, yeah.
That was silly.
This was the 119th edition of the men's race, 257.2 kilometers with, I think, there were over 30 sections of cobbles.
It's called sectors.
Or sectors.
Yeah, 30 sectors. I think it was 29, actually, or was it 30?
I think it was over 30. I watched a video, and I think they were talking about it was like 32 or something.
Yeah, the cobble sections are sectors, and they're rated on a star system. There's
really? Just like the climbs?
Stars.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So is it based on distance and how rough the terrain is? Do they have a candy scale?
They should do a candy scale.
That would be awesome if they had a candy scale.
Yeah.
There were a lot of weird stories I thought that came out. The Shimano carbon wheels folding in half. Did you hear about that? There's like
not until you told me.
2 different wheel sets. They just basically folded in half. What happened was, I think they flatted in the cobbles in the pave. I know that word. The pave. And then instead of changing, they tried to just run the carbon on the cobbles.
Yeah.
And it basically just folded the wheel in half.
There was a lot of flats.
Tons of flats. Tons and tons and tons.
I mean, it's known, it's a rough race, but I thought there was more flats this year than ever before.
I know it was the fastest in so far. It was just under, what was the time? Oh man, I had it and now
I thought you had the whole page up. That's why I was.
I did, and now I've kind of lost it. I know it was the fastest finish time for the Paris-Roubaix. In its
for
existence.
the men's, yeah.
For the men's, yeah. And only the second. I'm excited that there was the second year for the ladies, and that it's got almost as much attention. I think it's gotten the same level of attention that the men's race got, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
Cheers to that, friends.
Yes. Cheers to the ladies. You want to take a look at Strava Club, Joey?
The Strava Club. Ooh, that was good.
That was very good.
Thank you.
Have to isolate that.
Ooh. Josh Chasen from LaGrangeville.
Got me.
LaGrangeville, New York, with 171.6. Chris Joyce from Knoxville, Tennessee, with 237.7, and David Hunter from Richmond, Virginia, with 137.5.
Wow, great job, guys.
Good job, y'all.
We were up to 126.4 to break into top 100.
That's a big jump from last week.
Yeah.
It's up almost 10
warm
miles.
weather.
Yeah.
And we're still holding steady at 817. That's strava.com/clubs/gravel travel dirt.
And the mustache challenge is still on. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I technically have a mustache.
I know, but you would have to shave your beard off. That's what I'm really after.
Yeah.
So when we get to 1,000 Strava Club members, Joey shaves off his beard and keeps his mustache. And I actually have to grow a mustache, which will probably take me 3 months to do. So
we could use Sharpie and just go make little cat like that handlebar whisker.
Okay, folks, joining us now is Andy Bacon from EX2 Adventures and the 1725 Loudoun Gravel Grinder. Welcome, Andy. It is great to have you join us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So where are you calling from tonight?
So I live in Vienna, Virginia.
Okay.
So across from the river from you guys, I think.
Are you a velo pig? Aren't those velo pigs over there?
I I do have a VeloPig sticker on one of my bicycles.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I guess I'm, in the club. I guess I got a sticker that counts.
I think that's all it takes to be a VeloPig member. We were at Croatan. There was a bunch of VeloPigs at Croatan, and Casey Clark was there. We've had Casey on the podcast before.
I love the name VeloPigs. What a great name.
Yeah, super awesome.
Casey's a good dude for sure.
Yeah. Before we dig into any of the events or any of that, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so my name's Andy Bacon. I'm the race director and owner of a company called EX2 Adventures, based in Northern Virginia. And I'm married, got 2 kids. I like to ride my bike, but I'm also a runner, and adventure racing is like my sport that I like to participate in the most.
Cool.
And I've been running EX2 now this is my fifth year.
Seems like I feel like I've seen that name a lot longer than that. So you're doing a good job with the brand, because anytime you feel like you've seen something over and over and over again, that's cool.
Yeah, we've been around for over 20 actually, but I've been running the company for 5 years now.
Okay.
We put on cycling events. We got a mountain bike race coming up, the Gravel Grinder, a bunch of trail running races. We do an Xterra off-road triathlon, and we do at least one adventure race a year.
Wow, a little bit of everything.
All around DC,
Cool.
within an hour of the city, basically.
Well, what's the origin story behind EX2 Adventures? Before we get into 1725, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so for me personally, I did an EX2 race in 2004, and it was my first race. It was actually the first year that EX2 put on our off-road triathlon up at Rocky Gap State Park, and it would become the Xterra EX2 off-road triathlon. Xterra is like a worldwide series.
Right.
And so I did that in 2004. I was kind of just getting into off-road triathlon. I had like just learned to mountain bike like 6 months before, and I really had no idea what I was doing. But I did that, had a blast, and sort of got into off-road triathlon for a while. And in the mid-2000s, I started doing EX2 Adventures races for dates with my wife, actually. With my
yes.
Wife. Yeah, we would do like trail running races or whatever. And that's about the same time I started to know the guy who started EX2 Adventures. And his name is Jim Harmon, and he's relevant to the 1725 story for sure. And I'll get to that in a second. So anyway, I got to know Jim, and eventually like our friends sort of melded together. That's how I started. But Jim started the company, believe it or not, way back in 2000.
Wow.
And he was an outdoor program manager at Hemlock Overlook. He was part of George Mason University at the time, and put on an adventure race, which we still have today, called Venture Quest. And he did that for a couple of years, like actually while he was working at Hemlock, and then had the decision to like, hey, I think I can do this for a job. And he started EX2 Adventures, I think officially like 2002, but we like to say 2000 because it's easy to remember. But EX2 stands for something, and it stands for excellent experiences. So EX. And that's sort of like the whole idea behind the company is, we're a adventure sports company, but for us, it's really about the whole participant experience, more than just like the course and whatever. That's just one part of it. Anyways, we've been around for a long time. How I got involved is I had a side business just doing adventure racing for about 6 years, from 2010 to 2016-ish or whatever. But my first daughter was getting to be a couple years older. My job that I was doing at the time was kind of keeping me busy, and I actually got out of the event production business and had no intention of going back into it. But Jim sent me an email, and Jim and I were buddies by now. We'd known each other for over a decade. And he's like, hey, let's go have a beer. This is like end of 2016. And he's like, oh, I'll have a beer. So we went to have a beer, and he's like, Andy, he's like, I'm moving, and I'm either going to move to North Carolina or I'm going to move to Colorado. But either way, I would love to keep EX2 going. And he's like, would you have any interest in basically taking it over? And so I went home and told my wife, and she looked at me square in the eye and was like, well, you're going to do it, right? And I was like,
that's awesome.
well, wait a minute. Like, I don't know if we're going to be eating ramen noodles for the rest of our life or whatever. But anyway, one thing led to another, and it worked out. And so I worked with Jim all of 2017 and sort of learned all our courses, and then like worked with him kind of like behind the scenes to figure out how he sort of ran the operations of the company. And then he moved, and then 2018 was my first full year running the business, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's how EX2 started.
That's a great
how I got involved.
That's a great story of I love the name. I kind of, we actually in our little pre-show I was actually asking you whether it was X2 or EX2, and now it makes sense. Excellent experiences.
Excellent experiences. That's
cool.
it.
Where did the name for 1725 come from?
Yeah, so this is an interesting story. So I wish I could take credit for the idea for the event and the name, but I can actually take credit for neither of those two things.
You're responsible for keeping them going, so that's enough.
We keep them going, and so the story of how the gravel grinder started was actually pretty interesting. So Jim and I, Jim Harmer, who started the X2, we talk all the time. And in early 2019, I was still kind of new. I'd only run the company for about a year. And so Jim was usually the person I'd call if I had a question about stuff or whatever. And one of those phone calls, he had just had a trip up here, and he was talking to a guy named Bruce Buckley. And I think you guys know Bruce.
Sure.
Bruce is a really well-known photographer and does amazing work in a lot of cycling events. And Bruce made a comment to Jim, this is the way the story goes, like, hey, how come nobody puts on a gravel cycling event out in Loudoun County? Like, there's some really great stuff. And Jim was like, I don't know. Why doesn't anybody put on a cycling event in Loudoun County? Well, that idea turned into the Loudoun 1725 Gravel Grinder. And so Bruce is the one that connected Jim originally to Doug Graham and the America's Routes folks, and connected them with Jan and Pete Beers and Phil Troutman and other people at Bike Kinetic who back several years ago were organizing gravel routes like every single weekend, and Friday hooky rides and all this sort of stuff. And so that was where the idea came from. And the name 1725 was somewhere around one of the dates where sort of like the gravel road network really sort of like started,
Oh, okay.
About 300 years ago, right? And so 1725, I think, was in some historical description somewhere and had a really great ring to it. And so that's where the Loudoun 1725 name came from.
Cool. I thought maybe it was a year, but
It is a year.
Didn't know what the connection was.
So
it's a year. Historical significance, kind of when things sort of got cooking in Loudoun.
So I did the event last year, and it was amazing. Joey and I said at the event, we're going to do it again next year. And we actually heard of the event through our friend Sam Prestige. And
I know Sam very well. Yeah.
So Sam said, you guys got to do this ride. Andy does a great job putting on events. When we were on a ride together, and then he recommended it. There was a group of us that went, and it was amazing. Last year it poured. Am I correct with that?
Yep.
Yeah. And that was the first gravel ride Joey and I did together, because Grape Gravel was my first one, but Joey was sick. So we were able to do Loudoun together, and it was an amazing event. You guys did a great job with it. So I'm extremely excited to go back again this year.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, so Jim, the story about how it sort of came to EX2 is, Jim had the idea. I talked to Bruce, talked to the Bike Kinetic crew, who was very, very welcoming. I was like, yeah, you should totally do this. In Jim and I's conversations, he was like, hey, basically we got talking about like, what if we did it together? Because EX2 has a certain amount of infrastructure in place. We have an operations team that help us put on the events. And so that's sort of how it became an EX2 event, is just a conversation with Jim and I. And from the beginning, we had lots of conversations. So we had the connection with America's Routes, which is this amazing organization. And, their whole existence and whole mission is really to preserve as much as they can of the rural road network in Loudoun County. And from the beginning, we knew that in order to raise awareness for what they're trying to do, the best thing that we could do was put on a world-class event.
Yeah, put people on the roads. Yeah,
get more people on there and tell them about it and get them to experience it firsthand. So we started this event in 2019 with the goal of making it as good as possible, and it's awesome to hear that you guys had a great time, and because the roads are beautiful, the routes are awesome, and it's just got a great vibe. I mean, most of what we do is racing, like from an EX2 perspective, and this event is not a race. It's an event where the whole idea is just to get out there either by yourself or with a group of friends and enjoy it. Go as fast as you want to go or as slow as you want to go, and hang out at the aid stations for as long as you want, if you want, make a day of it.
So no timing chips?
No timing chips.
There you go.
It's just,
rides
no timing chips. And
rides over races.
Yeah, and I think that whole what you just said with like no racing, no timing, none of those things, like I vibe really well with that. I really connect well with that. The rolling start last year was great. I mean, all those things really, you could tell from the event what you guys were trying to do. The morality of the story, the morality of your event. We totally got that as riders.
So the vibe comes through.
The vibe came through. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really careful, because we were the first folks to put on a fairly big cycling event, as far as I know, in that part of Loudoun, and we were really careful to like meet as many people as we could, and Doug and the team of America's Routes were great sort of like introductors to sort of some of the people in our local community to basically say, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do. Our whole goal for the event is really to have an event where it has zero negative impact to the local community, right? We don't want anybody to get stuck behind a bunch of bikes while they're trying to get to work or wherever. We don't want people to ask questions like, well, why is this event here? Like, we want them to say, wow, what a great thing. I didn't even know you guys were here. Like, that's like the reaction we're trying to get at with this event. And so far we've been successful.
Yeah. And so many times with races, you end up having to have traffic control, and it does. And it's for a very short period of time, sure. that they'll have to do that. But at the same time, that even that little short period of time can have that negative impact like you were talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, races are great, right? I mean, we put on a lot of races, but for this event, for our purposes, we were really careful and very deliberate in how we set it up and how we communicate and how we, one of the big things is how we start the event. I mean, we kind of stagger the starts over several hours to sort of control how many people are on the road or any one section of road at one time. That's okay. That's one of our biggest levers that we have at our disposal to sort of keep the traffic or cyclist traffic at a reasonable level.
It doesn't have that big,
and we think we'll always do that.
Yeah.
I think it's more, and it's especially it's not a race. Like, it's nice to kind of have a little bit of by yourself time if you want that when you're out there. And
enjoy the rest stops. It seems
totally.
Like
oh my goodness,
they were great.
That's such a huge part of the gravel scene, is that kind of community, and the experience that comes along with it, and to be able to kind of take that pressure, release that valve of having to get in and get out as quickly as you can, makes it a whole different vibe.
Joey ran into somebody he knew at each rest stop. The first guy was one of his reps.
I knew people all over.
He was like, "What is going on, Joey? Like, where are we that all these
the
people?"
bike industry's small in this area. It's big, but it's small. I just know everyone.
Well, let's dive in.
It makes it so fun, right? I mean, it's just so awesome. You roll up to stuff and you're like, oh, and you can just like have a great conversation about the ride or whatever. It's just that's sort of like what it's all about, right? That really is. It's part of the magic.
A gravel family reunion.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, let's talk about this year's event. Let's do some of the details. Let's do event dates, the locations, and all those details. Number of riders and distances and routes.
Cool. So the ride this year is Sunday, June 12th. Registration is open on Bike Reg now, and we're actually, I just did the math. We're about a little over 85% sold out.
Wow.
And so we're cooking on registration. So it's June 12th. We actually move the start venue this year. And this is actually something that Jim and I were a little bit nervous about because we had been starting the event since 2019. So the first 3 iterations of this were at the Salamander Resort, which is right off the main drag in Middleburg. And I have to say, when we first approached them, I was like, no way they're going to let us have this ride there, because we were going to like park on the grass and like have like 500 bikes. And they were like the most welcoming group. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And so they were fantastic, and they like cater it. And so, but they're doing a bunch of construction there. And so we had to move the venue, and we were a little nervous about trying to find something that could compete with Salamander. Well, we had a short list and we asked around, and I have to say, where we ended up, I couldn't be happier about. And so we are staging the event this year out of a private school called the Foxcroft School. It's actually an all-women's school, and it's right off of Foxcroft Road. And it's like the venue is amazing. Like I think it's actually prettier. I mean, Salamander is really nice, if you guys remember. Like, it's beautiful, but I think the venue actually this year, I think, will actually maybe even trump the previous years, which is awesome.
Cool.
So it's June 12th at Foxcroft School. Routes, we have 3 different routes. We have a 40-ish miler, a 60-ish miler, and an 80-ish miler. They're all awesome. I will say, one question I get a lot is like, well, if I do the quote unquote short route, which is 40 miles, and 40 miles is not really short for most people, will I get like sort of like skimped on scenery and like whatever? And I confidently tell them, no. I mean, some of the most beautiful scenery on the route is in the 40-mile section.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And so, 3 distances, fully stocked, aid stations, support. We have it catered afterwards. So we still use Market Salamander. So Market Salamander is like the catering arm of the Salamander Resort, and they're still going to cater it for us. So they provide, really great food and beer and wine and stuff afterwards. Yeah.
How many riders? How many riders?
So this is something we've talked a lot about. So the first year, we capped it at 500. Well, we were like hoping for like to get a couple hundred people, and we ended up selling out the event at 500 riders.
Wow.
And then the year after was COVID year, and so we actually moved the event to the fall, and I think we had like 4 something registered. I think it was really kind of a crappy day, and so we had to get like 400 riders that day, maybe 350. And then last year we had a little over 650 registered and about 600 riding. And then this year we're going to cap it at 750 riders.
It's a big event.
Yeah, that is a big event.
Yeah,
big event.
Yeah,
cool.
we Jim and I have talked a lot about this. In terms of how to, if we're going to grow, how to grow in the right way and the responsible way, because we could probably get more people, and we think we're probably going to sell out the event. Largely it's been word of mouth. We don't really advertise too much. We have some great partners who help spread the word, but we could probably have a bigger event, and we're very cautious to grow very, very slowly, because it gives us a chance to sort of assess how the operations are working, how the aid stations are impacted, how the volume of bikes on the roads in any given one section are impacted. And if we're bumping up a little bit at a time and not like having like a huge increase, it allows us to be like, oh, okay, this is about the number of people we can handle. Or they're like, oh, well, we can probably go a little bit bigger and not necessarily have a negative impact on the roads, on the community, or the participant experience, right? And so we're being very deliberate in how we're growing the event.
That's really smart, because you can ease into it as opposed to making that big jump and then having the experience totally blow up and then nobody comes back. So
that's right. I mean, and Jim and I feel very strongly about this, that we'd rather keep the event small, and well, it's still a big event, but like smaller than it could be, and have everybody say, wow, that was one of the most amazing things I ever did. Like, have that excellent experience be created for everybody who participates, because that's what's going to make the event grow, like word of mouth, right? People say, hey, you got to come do the 1725 because it's such a great time. And we want to be very careful to not do anything to negatively impact that experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we've already, the 40, the 60, and the 80, and you've already kind of teased the fact that the 40 has as much beauty as any of them. But what are the routes like from, elevation profiles and, gravel versus hardtop? And
yeah, so I was actually just like, I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I was like back of the napkin, like trying to figure out. And part of the issue is, and the unfortunate part is that the amount of gravel on these roads changes from year to year. Literally, I go out there and ride, and I'm like, well, that's disappointing because now I'm riding on pavement that is, I can tell it's like brand new, and it changes all the time. Mm. So I would say it's 50% give or take gravel versus paved. I'd say it's on the north side of 50. I don't know the exact percentage. But I will describe it as plenty. And what I mean by that is from a riding perspective. Anytime I do the routes, I don't even really notice. I kind of notice when I go to pavement, but they're still so beautiful. Mm. I don't ever have the feeling of like, oh my God, I got to get off this paved interstate. I don't ever have that feeling. And that's true no matter which route the participants do.
Yeah, I think that's what we're used to, and that's kind of what the expectation is. So
totally. So elevation wise, 40 milers got it north of 2,000 feet of gain, and 80 milers got close to 5,000 plus. But I will say that there's no monster climbs. Anybody who's ridden out there will know that there's just a lot of rolling stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to climb Mount Weather or something, you're not going to have any monster, 1,000-foot climbs, right?
Yeah.
But there's enough to make it.
It adds up.
It adds up. Yeah, I was going to say it's not like you're. You can't bring the 3-speed bike cruiser out there and expect to have an awesome. It's good to have It's I'm a gear. Well, it's good to have gears, but. Anyway, so it's not flat. Put it that way.
With all of that said, what's the best bike setup?
So this is a good question. So, and one I get often, and I'll answer it this way. I would say, first and foremost, whatever you got, and I mean that because we get a lot of people who are serious cyclists. Is one community who come, the Casey Clarks of the world, right? Come and he's got his gravel bike set up, most likely single speed, gravel tires, probably 38 to 40 cc maybe, or whatever in that range, and that's his rig. I also get people, because we put on so many different other types of events, this might be their first foray into anything off a bike path, right? And so we get people who ride mountain bikes. We get people who ride commuter sort of style bikes, which is normal slick tires on them. And we get cross bikes, and we get gravel, full on top of the line gravel stuff. So I would say whatever you got is fine. If people ask me about, can I ride a road bike? I would say yes, you can, but it's not ideal, largely because the tires tend to be a little bit too narrow. You could totally do it, but the ride can be a little bit rough, and if you're not a good bike handler, especially some of the downhills might get a little squirrely on a road bike. So if somebody says hey, should I ride my mountain bike or my road bike, I would firmly say ride your mountain bike. It's going to be a better, especially in a ride, it's going to be a much just fun ride on your mountain bike compared to a road bike with 22 millimeter tires on them, right? So I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And my thought on that is that, that's so cool because it blends with that ride over a race. And if you can get some of those people out there on their, trail bikes that, get exposed to the gravel scene and see what it's all about, that gives them that opportunity to kind of see it and participate in it without the intimidation of, I don't have the right bike to go compete in something.
And I'll tag on to that because last year there was a group of girls and boys that were in this Hawaiian shirt.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that, Joey?
Oh,
And
yeah.
we were like talking to them and they were so cool and they're like, we're just out here to ride our bikes. And it was just a really cool, like the vibes flew, like you said before. Like they, I forget what shoes they were wearing, but they weren't
just
like
some flats. The bikes were a little,
flip-flops.
little tired, and they did it.
And they were happy. They were so like a group of them were together. It was a really cool thing to see on a I don't know what I say, a numbered bib event, but there is no timing chip.
Yeah.
So I think that was really cool.
I feel like most people, it can be a little intimidating when you're like, even like walking into a bike shop, like looking for a new bike. That could be like a little intimidating experience sometimes for a new person because you don't want to like, a lot of times they don't know what they don't know, right? And so to have an event where you can just kind of ride what you want and then like look around and be like, oh, look at that style bike or look at that style bike. It gives people a great idea of like what's out there, in a very like casual sort of laid back.
Without feeling out of place or intimidated.
Totally. Yeah.
It's funny. I've gotten this question this year several times. People have asked me, like, what's the best entry level gravel event that you would recommend? And I've actually put 1725 in that list every time based upon the feedback that you guys get, because I haven't ridden it. I was scheduled to ride it, I think the year that it was postponed, and then the weather, and then all sorts of stuff went sideways, and I didn't make it. And the June window is I'm always on a tour. I'm doing Blue Ridge at that time, so I'm gone for that. But based on what Joey and Jess have said, I this year I actually answered that with 1725 in the mix, and I'm glad that I have, because it really does sound like it fits that to a T. The elevation's not intimidating. The distances are not intimidating. You can pick your poison. You can get, the right distance. They're all going to be the right routes. And
yeah, one of the cool parts about this ride, I should mention this with their routes. So when somebody signs up, they pick a distance, right? And like the registration fees like bump up a little bit if you're riding the longer routes. But the way the routes are structured and the way we sort of sign the course and mark the course, there's really a lot of options to sort of like drop sections if you want. So for example, if a rider signs up for the 80 miler and they're just not feeling it that day, it's not like you're doing this like monster 80-mile loop where once you get to mile 40, like you're fully committed and your only option is to go, finish the route or backtrack. And either way, it's 40 more miles. All the routes, including the 40-mile one, have a place where you can cut things off. And I actually had, I never forget, I had somebody, I think it was the first or second year, I think it was a woman who was going to ride with her son, and she was really, 40 miles is a long way, and it is a long way for most of the population of the world, ride your bike that far. And she was like, well, I'm worried about 40 miles, whatever. And so I told her, I was like, well, you can literally take that 40-mile route and turn it into a 20-mile loop if you want to. And that's the first aid station is at Unison, which is sort of like you can create a loop out of that. And that gave her a little bit of comfort. And there's like options like that on all three distances. Like it's easy, like, oh, I'm going to drop this section because I'm not feeling it, whatever. Which I think is one of the cool things about the route design is that it does offer some flexibility, like real time, like once you're out there.
Cool.
Because when I remember doing it, I remember that we were at the same aid station. So we did the 40. Am I correct with that, Joey?
Yeah.
But we were at the aid station with other people.
The first aid station twice.
The first aid station. So we were
Unison.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we were able to see, the rep Joey had, and Ted was out there, and Larry were out there, and our friends were doing the longer ride. But we were still at that aid station with them, and because of the wave start, we saw a lot of them on course.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, and that's that's part of the neat thing is we start obviously the longer rides first in the morning. So like the 80-mile riders will go out first, and then the 60, and then the 40. Because part of the idea is, one, we have obviously all sorts of a pretty wide spread of speeds people are traveling, right? Even across the 80 milers, you might have somebody cooking at like 20 plus miles an hour and somebody, going 10 miles an hour. But the idea is that like people are sort of making their way back to the school this year within a certain window, right? To kind of create that atmosphere at the end of the ride, like, this community event, right? That's part of the other things in terms of how we lay it out. Yeah.
Cool. Any shout outs for some event sponsors?
I do. So first and foremost, I want to thank Jan and his team at Bike Kinetic. So they have been, since day one of this event, all in and 100% supportive and fantastic. They run 2 aid stations for us every single year. And they like set the tone for those aid stations in all the right ways. And so I want to thank Jan, and I'm just very grateful for all his support. He's really been awesome. We have 2 other bike shops that have been fantastic as well. So Ann and Todd Mader at the Bike Lane, that's a shop in Reston. They're running the aid station for us. Tom is their lead mechanic who has a mobile van. He's out there at one of the aid stations. Doug and Don Graham actually work at Maverick Bikes and Cafe in Leesburg. And so Doug is obviously associated with America's Routes, but Maverick is involved. Eric Scudder from IFP Financial. Eric, every year provides some really great swag. This year, all the participants, besides a pint glass, we're also going to give them a buff, like a head wrap type thing, branded with the event stuff, and so that's courtesy of Eric. We have a couple new sponsors. So a company called Moss Building and Design. They're going to be on board as a sponsor. They're sponsoring a lot of our events this year. And then we also have Sheehy Auto Stores. A guy named Vince Sheehy is the CEO. He does a bunch of our events, and so they're on board as a sponsor. So got lots of support. Obviously, I want to thank the America's Routes crew. I mean, all the work that they're doing. Doug and Jane and Emily and Danielle and Rich and Mitch. They're all fantastic, and they're doing a lot of really work that, to be honest with you, isn't visible a lot of the time. They're doing a lot of hard work to put the gravel road network on the historical registry to give some sort of shot to preserve as much of the rural road network as possible. Because like I said before, I can't tell you, every time I go out there, I see a new road or a new house being built. And the more that gets built, the greater likelihood that there's going to be pavement. And so it's a real thing that's changing very quickly, and the whole situation is very dynamic. And so that team from America's Routes is doing a lot of hard work that could really well make a difference. And so I'm very grateful for everything they do, and obviously they're the great supporters of the ride.
Cool. Now, you know what I like to hear? Well, it was really neat to hear, like, you're not your typical bike. You always hear the same, like, bike people sponsoring events, but you had a whole lot of people in that list that were not like bike companies, and that's cool. I kind of really like hearing that. That's neat.
Yeah. Well, it's so EX2, we used to put on a lot of bike events. So we had a mountain bike series that was popular for over a decade called the Cranky Monkey. And so, but several years ago, we sort of scaled back at the amount of cycling events in general. The sponsor list, besides the bike shops, which are all awesome, it's just I guess, a result of us being involved in a couple of different types of events, I'd say. That's where it comes from. And it's cool. Awesome. It's great, So
we had your t-shirts last year. We got your t-shirts last year, and they were amazing. Uh-huh. We probably wear them all over the time. So your swag is great. We have we have the cup, we have all those things. I mean, your bike ride is proudly put on the wall of like upcoming events that you should do in the area. So you're doing all the right things, man.
Unfortunately, I won't be there this year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll go meet up for a ride sometime.
Yeah.
Give you like the unofficial tour, right?
That's what we got to do. How can interested folks? You were 85% sold out. So if people want and they're listening to the podcast, they need to get on it.
Yeah, I was just gonna get on it. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I need to sign up right now because I have not yet.
So where can folks find out more?
So probably it's just Google Loudoun 1725 Gravel Grinder. That's
nice.
The easy way to do it. You can also go to the EX2 website, and that's EX2Adventures.com. And cycling is just one of the menu items you'll see there. So we have 2 cycling events: the Gravel Grinder plus a mountain bike race, which is coming up next month, actually. And check it out. Yeah, it's on Bike Reg. You can also just go to Bike Reg and search for it. But yeah, so it's probably gonna. I mean, I don't know when it's gonna sell out, but I'd say if people want to ride, it's always a good idea to get on it. We have a really generous cancellation policy too. So if you sign up and life happens, we tend to be pretty relaxed about that stuff.
Cool.
So it's kind of not risk-free entirely, but pretty low risk to get on it and sign up.
I'm going to put links to all of those places in the show notes. So if you're listening
Cool.
and you want to try to find that and you don't know how to use Google,
yeah, and I follow you guys on social media, so it's pretty.
Oh yeah, we're on social media.
I was gonna
too.
say
Yeah.
your Instagram page. I follow the EX2 one. Because not only do I like
EX2 Adventures.
Yeah, and not only do I like to run, but I also like to cycle. So I like both of those things.
Yeah.
Because you guys put on that cold weather running event thing. So a streak or something, right?
We had that was a COVID creation. We did a virtual challenge. We've done several of them, but the one you're referring to is this thing we did in January. It's called the Backyard Burr. BRRR.
Huh.
And you could. The first one we did was just foot travel, so just walking and running. But then we did this one in January this January, and it was running, cycling. You could cross country ski, a whole bunch of stuff, and it was all about accumulating the most miles in the month of January that you could. And believe it or not, those 2 virtual challenges that we did this January and the January last year were our 2 biggest events ever in the 21-year history of EX2. It blew my mind. It was amazing.
People just like to move.
A bunch of money.
Yeah.
And we raised a bunch of money for our charity partners. And it was just this amazing thing that if you asked me in February of 2020, before all the COVID stuff happened, I would have been no way we're ever going to do anything not real, not in person. And
right.
it was amazing. Yeah, just one of those silver linings of COVID.
I think that's one of the things that's come out of COVID is that we've all realized that we can do things like that, and it can be just as engaging and just as much fun.
Yeah, it creates community, and it's good stuff.
Well, thanks for joining us, Andy. And you going to stick around for this or that? Please say yes.
I would love to.
Okay, we're gonna dive right in.
Take it easy on me though, okay?
You got it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna toss it over to you, Andy, first, since you're our guest. Jess, you're second, then me, and then Joey's gonna muck it all up. First item on this week's This or That: sausage or bacon.
Is there any doubt? Bacon.
Jess.
I will not go bacon. I am 100% going sausage.
Really?
100%.
Whoa.
100%. Bacon is
surprising.
not, and I know there's this whole big bacon thing. I am not an advocate. I am not
we know now.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Joey.
All right. As soon as you said that.
Bacon all the way. I had bacon for breakfast this morning. I would eat bacon every day, all day, if it would not kill me. Joey?
I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble. Oh, yeah, bacon.
All day.
Bacon all day.
All day. Second item on this week's This or That: cobbles or gravel for Paris-Roubaix?
I'm going to say gravel. I mean, it's more accessible. We got a lot more gravel than we do cobbles around here, that's for sure.
Jess?
What is a cobble?
a cobblestone.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
I'm staring at you am I supposed to know what this cobble is?
It's like a
it
cobble
sounds
road.
like it's a little elf or something.
So think of Williamsburg, where they have the cobblestone roads. They're hard rocks that are in cement.
So we had those in college in Westchester, and I have ruined so many shoes to those stupid things. So I'm 100% going gravel.
There's a bunch of little cobble roads in Savannah down by the Riverwalk, and it's hard to walk on those things. I can't imagine what it'd be to ride a bike on them. So I'm going gravel, Joey.
Well, we are gravel, travel, dirt.
Okay.
You could be cobble, travel, and dirt.
No, I've
Cobble.
ridden cobblestones. They are unforgiving.
Yeah.
They get a little wet. They're really slick. And it's just they hurt when you fall on them.
All gravel all the time.
Gravel hurts.
That could be your April Fool's Day like thing.
Oh,
Next
yeah.
year, it's like we're no longer Mid-Atlantic gravel.
Somebody
dirt,
write it
we're
down. Who's got a pedal?
all
Write it down.
day.
That was such a good idea.
All cobbles. Third item, Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy?
Oh man, God, that's a tough one. Tooth Fairy.
Ah, Jess?
So I was doing a lot of social media because it was my spring break, and the Easter Bunny could be creepy.
That's what I was
Like
gonna
the
say.
Easter Bunny is not like, I mean, some of the Easter Bunny was like, oh, that's so cute. That's an Easter Bunny. Like, ha ha ha. But some of them are like pure wickedly like looking.
Okay, why is there a giant rabbit that wants to steal the eggs
So
from the chickens?
my students today were like, why does the bunny hide the eggs? Like, bunnies don't lay eggs. And
But-
then there was like this 20-minute conversation.
The-
And I was like, this is way higher level thinking than I
That was
ever.
to get out of schoolwork.
Yeah.
the Tooth Fairy is also creepy because it comes into like your little kids' bedrooms at night.
Yeah, but it gives me money.
Okay, that's true. Well, okay. I
The
I
Easter
think,
Bunny gave me no money this year, nor did it give me chocolate.
I think they're both kind of creepy, but of the creepy, I'm actually going to go with the Easter Bunny because it does bring candy. So, Joey,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'd say it's creepy, but so is the Tooth Fairy.
yeah.
And I was terrified of pulling my teeth when I was a kid. So, yeah. Creepy Easter Bunny just because I like Reese's.
Yeah. You ever gone in and searched for like the creepy Easter Bunny photos from like the 50s and the 60s?
Oh, yeah.
Of the crazy like
They're not any better now, though.
Oh, bizarre.
So pause. I went looking yesterday for Easter, like cheap Easter candy, like the day after Easter. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna get all the Cadbury eggs and all these things. They had coffee flavored Peeps.
Ew.
I know. I thought that was
Good
gross.
though. Would that be good?
That sounds pretty
could
good.
be.
I'll be
No,
honest with you.
to
Yeah.
me, I love coffee. Like I would have
I'd eat
an
'em.
IV of it, but like I was like, ew, that's so gross. And then they had like taco flavored jelly beans, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Like I'm not
See, this-
opening any of this.
But this is like aid station magic right there. If I had taco flavored jelly beans and coffee flavored Peeps,
Yeah.
people would be like, "This is the greatest thing."
Anything besides Swedish fish.
I
know,
like
right?
Swedish fish.
Last item, Knight Rider or the A-Team?
I'm gonna go Knight Rider. I'm a fan.
Jess?
I don't know any of these people, to be honest with you.
Are you serious?
I was born in
Pass off.
I was born in 1988. I don't know. I mean, Joey was born in 1990, so he makes me look ancient. But I'm gonna say none of the above.
Okay, that's valid. You could say that.
I'm gonna do like my 8th graders. I'm gonna pick the or.
Okay, Knight Rider. Absolutely, hands down, Knight Rider. But Joey and I were talking about the A-Team van
I saw the
yesterday.
A-Team van yesterday.
So I'm curious what Joey's answer is going to be.
Oh, I love the A-Team.
Yeah, you're going A-Team?
Knight Rider's cool,
Yeah.
but not like the A-Team.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I just Knight Rider the kit and the little lights that flash back and forth. This is super cool. But
So
Both good shows.
So
Good shows. Yeah.
Andy, you said that you had a friend that had a mobile van that did like repairs, right? Did you say that?
What?
Oh yeah. So the bike lane in Reston.
Oh, yeah.
has a truck. Yeah, that they tow around. You can do like mobile bike.
Yeah,
repairs,
mobile
yeah.
bike repairs.
So
It's the same.
Joey last year found a bike battery on the side of the.
Oh, I found an e-bike battery for a specialized Creo, like a $700 battery.
On the side, and he was carrying it in his jersey.
Didn't help me go any faster,
Until, well, they actually took
Wait,
his.
like last year.
but on route, yeah, at 1725.
Oh, you're kidding me, really?
Yeah, it was on the side of the road. I picked it up because I knew how expensive they were.
Yeah.
I don't know
they're
where the
not
story's
lights
going, but I
either.
gave it to the bike lane guys, and then the lady showed up looking for this battery.
Yeah, and Joey was riding around with this battery in his thing,
Yeah,
and
it's
when
heavy.
they're heavy.
and
Yeah,
they took
they're
his
big.
picture with the battery in the back of his pocket. But it was when you said that, I was like, oh my god, that was the ride that Joey found the battery, and the woman came up and was at the aid station, was walking around, was like, did anybody find a battery? And Joey's like, I did, and that guy has it, and it was like a really cool it was because somebody out there was riding an e-bike on your course, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
E-bikes are awesome. We love e-bikes. We love e-bikes.
Wow. That's all you made her day, man, for sure.
Oh yeah,
Holy
I'm
cow.
sure. I'm sure.
Those bikes are not light when you don't have battery.
Andy, thank you once again, buddy, for joining us. This was a whole lot of fun.
Thanks for
hearing
the
about
opportunity.
the backstory on 1725, and I'm sorry that I'm going to miss it this year, but I know Jess is planning to go with ladies, right? Aren't they?
We are planning to go with the ladies of gravel are going.
Cool. Anybody else got anything before we shut it down this week?
Nope.
Joey,
No, thank you so much.
Joey, I did hear the rumor though that Elon Musk is trying to buy Specialized. Is that true?
I don't even start.
One thing that Elon Musk would be very smart to buy would be Cutaway USA.
Oh my God.
Offering premium cycling apparel born in the Blue Ridge. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you enjoy the podcast, then maybe consider joining our Patreon family. We really appreciate all of that monthly support, and that donation, all those donations go right back into the podcast. Joey, how can folks get in touch with us?
GravelTravelDirt.com and Mid-Atlantic GTD on Instagram.
Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt is recorded this week from all the way out in Vienna, Virginia, to right here in Blake's Kitchen in Solomons. Thanks everybody for riding along. Till next time, do good, be nice, go slow.
Love you, bye.
Respect others.
Love you, bye.
Oh.
You don't even let me finish my thing now. Love you, bye.